Alright, back to another album review. Today's review is on Vulgar Display of Power from Pantera. It's the sixth studio album from Pantera. Is a follow-up to Cowboys from Hell, which I reviewed last week. This is also Pantera's second time working with our good friend Terry Date, who also produced Cowboys from Hell. Terry actually helped Vinnie Paul to produce, mix, and engineer this album. Howie Weinberg was responsible for the mastering. Anyways, this album was recorded in '91 at Pantego Sound Studio in Pantego, Texas. The album was released on February 25th, '92 under Atco Records, or this be the last Pantera album to be released under Atco Records. Just like last time, the album is primarily centered around groove metal and thrash metal, with some elements of heavy metal. And that Pantera spent about 2 months in the studio before they were invited to open for Metallica and AC/DC at the '91 Monsters of Rock concert in Moscow on September 28th, '91. They later returned to the studio to finish working on the album. After recording was finished, they traveled to New York City to master the album at Masterdisc. Anyways, let's talk about the songs. This album starts with Mouth for War. This was the first single from this album. It's released in '92, but I don't know the exact date. All I know is that it was released before the album. If anyone knows the exact date the single was released, be sure to let me know in the comments. Anyways, I read that Phil Anselmo said in an interview that the song is about, quote, channeling your hate into something productive. That's actually a pretty accurate description if you ask me. There was a music video that was made for the song. I'll post a link to it in the description. I think this is an awesome song and starts the album off perfectly. Up next is A New Level. It's one of the heavier songs on this album, and you'd know if you actually listen to this album. It's also tied with Mouth for War as the second shortest song on the album. And they each have a runtime of 3 minutes and 57 seconds long. Followed up with Walk. This was the fourth and final single from this album, and the single was released in '93. I don't know the exact date the single was released, however. This is one of the heavier songs on this album, considering the fact that it's in the realm of groove metal. A music video was made for the song, and I'll post a link to it in the description. I will say not only is this one of my favorite songs from this album, but it's also one of my favorite Pantera songs in general. The next song is Fucking Hostile. The song is more in the thrash metal category, and it's another one of my favorite Pantera songs. It's also the shortest song on this album at 2 minutes and 48 seconds long. In fact, this is the only song on this album to have a runtime of under 3 minutes. After that is This Love. This is the second single from this album. The single was released on February 25th, '92, which was the same day as the album. This is considered to be one of the most well-known songs from Pantera. Not only is it in the heavy metal genre, but it's also considered a power ballad since the lyrics are very emotional. In fact, it's about a relationship that Phil Anselmo was in, and he was really pissed off about it. A music video was made for the song, and Kevin Kerslake directed it. I'm going to post a link to the video in the description. What's funny and awesome is the fact that the video was once featured on Beavis and Butthead. And it's also my favorite song from this album. It's also the longest song on the album at 6 minutes and 32 seconds long. The next song is Rise. The song is simultaneously in the realms of both heavy metal and groove metal, though I don't have much else to say about it. Up next is No Good, Attack the Radical, which I personally think is an alright song. Followed up with Live in a Hole. I read that the lyrics of the song are about two individuals who constantly struggle with social anxiety, which is something that I can relate to. It's followed up with Regular People Conceit. I will say this song is very heavy and fits within the album's overall tone. Next song is By Demons Be Driven. I don't have much to say about the song, but I do enjoy it. This album ends with Hollow. This was the third single from this album, and the single was released in '92. Although the song falls into the category of heavy metal, it's also another power ballad. This time the lyrics are about a friend who has fallen into a vegetative state. Phil Anselmo even said that the song is about a series of losses that he suffered, and despite not giving out any names. It's also the second longest song on the album at 5 minutes and 48 seconds long. It is the perfect song to end the album with. One thing I should mention is that the 20th anniversary edition was released in 2012 and includes a previously unreleased song titled Piss. The song was recorded when Vulgar Display of Power was being recorded, but wasn't included on the original version of this album for some reason. Speaking of which, it's not on my copy, as you can see here. Now, from what I read is that this album was met with very high praise from critics, and rightfully so. Some of the critics praised Daryl's guitar riffs. In order to promote this album, Pantera went on tour with Soundgarden and Skid Row. The fact they toured with Soundgarden, my favorite grunge band, is fucking awesome. They later went on tour with Megadeth and White Zombie. This actually helped Pantera gain more popularity. This album peaked at number 44 on the Billboard 200. It was eventually certified double platinum by the RIAA. They're selling over 2 million copies. This makes Vulgar Display of Power the best-selling Pantera album. As for my opinion on it, I think this album does some things better than Cowboys from Hell. I also think Terry Date is the best producer that Pantera ever worked with. After all, he is one of my favorite producers in general. Now's the part where I question you. Have you listened to Vulgar Display of Power? If so, what do you think about it? What's your favorite song from it? What are your thoughts on Terry Date working with Pantera for a second time? This album deserved the praise that it received? And let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification bell to notify future uploads. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with another review.